We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Good morning, all of you. Welcome all the computer engineering students. Today we are going to see the advanced computer programming subject, and the topic is going to be files handling in C language. I am RITESH PATEL, in charge HOD of PATEL POLYTECHNIC, going to conduct a lecture on file handling using C languages. In a file handling in programming C, basically a file is defined as the collection of bytes that is stored permanently on the secondary storage devices. Right? So we need to collect the number of informations, right, permanently in a file format. Right? So we always know that in a number of files are there in the computer system, which is used to collect the permanent information. Right? It is not temporary information which is system carry. File is basically store long-term information, right, in a one of the format which is called the file. So basically there are 2 types of files as shown in the figures, right? So basically the computer systems are using 2 kinds of format as a files, right, to store the permanent information. Right? The number 1 is the text files and the number 2 is the binary files. Right? So basically text files are the files which contain the readable format, right, that is recognized by the user. The user can understand or user can read the format, which is basically ASCII format, or the format contain character from A to Z, 0 to 9 digits, right, etc., right, which is readable by the human being. Right? And the example of this kind of files are the Word file, Notepad file, WordPad file, right, or any other Excel or any word processing file, you can say, which is entered or recognized by the user. Number of information are entered by the user, number of outputs are gathered in a readable format. તો આ બધી પ્રકારની ફાઇલ્સો ટેક્સ્ટ ફોર્મેટની અંદર તમે જોઈ શકો, જે આપણે સમજી શકીએ. Now number 2 types of files are the binary kinds of files. Right? So basically binary levels are the image files, or one can say the audio files or the video files. Right? These kinds of files are basically used to have the audio or video files. Basically, binary files are the image file, binary audio files, etc. So now, what is the needs of files? Right? Basically, in a programming language, we need to take the lots of input into the program. Whenever we execute the program, we require to enter the number of inputs. Right? So sometimes we require to enter the number of data into the programs. Right? At the time, right, we can store the number of information or the input in a one permanent file, and you can directly input these files so that the number of input at one instance, right, enter into the programs. Right? So there is no need to enter the manual information into the files. Right? Similar way, whenever the program is giving the output, right, so whenever we need to analyze the output, we have to store in a one permanent file. So the program will automatically generating the output, right, and store in a files, which can be later on can be analyzed by the programmer or the user. So it reduce the input and output time by the programmers, right? So it is very helpful in terms of programming. Whenever you are using the input, whenever you are putting the output, right? So later on it can be also be analyzed, or one can store the output of the programs, right, permanently into the files, right? Sometimes we can use the files as a database, right? પ્રોસેસિંગ કર્યા પછી પ્રોગ્રામ જેટલા પણ નંબર ઓફ આઉટપુટ જનરેટ કરશે એઝ અ ડેટાબેઝ તરીકે પણ ફાઇલની અંદર સ્ટોર કરી શકે મેન્યુઅલી, right? And manually we can open these files, right? So reduce lots of times, right, in terms of input and output, and it is used to store the permanent database as well. Okay? So basically we need to handle the files in a turbo C. Turbo C under we need to handle this both types of files, text file as well as the binary files. આપણે બંનેને handle કરવી પડશે, right? You can perform the various operation between the files, right? The operations like you have to read the files, you have to write into the files, you can modify the files, or you can append in existing files, right? So number of operation you may perform on a files, right? So આપણને ખબર છે કે whenever we need to read something from the file in a Windows system, for example, right? So what we are doing, first we open the files manually by double clicking on this particular files. Whenever the files are opened, right, the cursor and the number of paragraphs are listed, right? And one by one, line by line, we are reading the number of contents, right, from that particular file. As soon as we complete the reading, right, we are closing the files, right? So this is the basic format of reading the files from the Windows system. Similarly, once we want to write into the files, right, whether it is existing file or whether it is a create a new files, we have to, whenever we want to create a new file, we go to the new options, right, of the file menu, and then we create a new files, and then we writing, starting the inputting the number of characters into it, or we can copy into it, right? Then we save the number of content into the files, and then we close the files, right? So this is the basic format of the Windows operating system, right? So similar way we can handle the files in a turbo C language, right? So whenever you want to create a new files, whenever you want to read something from the files, whenever you need to add something into the new files or in existing files, right, you may perform this basic operation with the files using the turbo C. So look at the program, look at the the basic file operation in C language are the four basic file operations. The number one is a opening or closing or creating a files. And number two is closing a file. Number three, reading a file, or the number four is writing into the file. So this is a basic four operations you need to perform using the turbo C. Now let's see the number of functions related to opening and closing the files. We need to first look at the function first, right? So there is a two basic functions are there, which is f open functions. Right? Look at into the file right now. F open functions, right? This function is basically used to open an existing file, right, or to create a new file, right? So this is the function which is used to handling the file opening or creating new file, right? So the basic function of this syntax function syntax are given here. The fopen function having a two parameter. Number one is the file which is uh, available at the particular locations with the full path name, and the second parameter is the mode in which you want to open the file. Correct? So this file open function need to have the mode in which you want to open the file. The purpose of opening or creating this file, so whether you want to write into the file or whether you want to read from the file. So the modes you have to mention in a second parameter, and the first parameter contains the full path of the file where the files are located, whether it is new creating files or the existing open files. Right now, whenever these files are opened using the fopen functions, this will return the address of the particular file. So every file in a C having this address, memory location of that particular file, where these files are located. So whenever these file open functions are successfully open the files or creating a new file, it will return the address of that particular file, and that we need to store or by the pointers, right? So whenever we are using any file related functions, before that we have to create one file pointer, right, of type file. So look at the syntax here. We are creating one file pointer of type file. Right? That means that this pointer can store the address of the open file. Right? So after that, the fp or the file pointer are used to handle the open files. Right? So this way we have to handle the file using the file pointer. So it is compulsory, right, before you using any functions, right, in a file you have to create the file pointers, right? So this is the very basic syntax. File is a capital, right? So this, and then we are using any file name or file pointer, right? We are using the asterisk signs, right? So this is the file pointer fp. We can read it as fp pointer fp of type file, right? So this fp can contain the address of the any files, correct? So afterwards, this file pointer can be used to perform any operations, right? So look at the syntax. Fp is equal to fopen file name or the full path of the file and then the mode. Right? Now, which steps of mode can be there, right? So first we need to understand a types of modes, right, which is available, right, to handle the number of files, right? So look at the next slide, in which we have a first mode is the R mode, right? This mode, right, can only read the characters from the files, right? So R, whenever we are opening the file using the R mode, right, then this will only used for reading the number of characters, right, from the file. Second mode is a W mode, where we want to write something into the file, then we can open the file using the W mode. Then we may have A plus mode, right? Here there is a plus mode. A plus, that means the append mode, right? Append mode means the existing files may have number of contains, and then we are writing something into it, right? Or we can say in an existing file where there is some uh, data are there, right? Without affecting the existing data, we are writing additional things into it, right? That is called the append files or append operation. So this is the basic three operation: R, read mode, write, W mode, and A for append mode, right? Now there is an additional three modes are there which is used, right, to maintain the set of operation at the same file. That means R plus, that means the write and read both operation can be handled in a W mode. Read as well as the write mode can be handled, and there is a sixth mode, that is a plus, that means in an existing file. We can read, write, and append in the existing files. Right? So basic 6 more we can use along with the fopen functions. Right? So whenever we are handling the files, we need to use the fopen function. So any operation we need to perform, whether it is a read or write, right? We have to use the fopen function, or whether we are opening the existing file or we are opening the new file. But whenever the fopen function do not find the file mentioned by the full path, if it is not found the particular file name, then it will be creating the new file with the name given by the this first parameter. Okay? So જ્યારે પણ તમે first parameter તરીકે file name આપશો અને file particular location પર available નહીં હશે તો this file open function will create the new file. And as soon as it will successfully open with the specific mode, it will return the address to the F2. Right? And whenever there is a error with the opening files or any other kinds of files by the operating system, the fopen function will always return null value to the FP. Right? So it is not always possible that the fopen will successfully open the files. Right? It might be possible some operating system errors are also associated with the file. When you have operating system file open नहीं करी सकते तो इसमें the fopen function will return the null value. આ પ્રકારની error ત્યારે possible છે જ્યારે file will be corrupted, right? A file is of unknown file type, or it may be moved to the another locations, right? It may be any reasons, right, associated with the operating system, right? So this way we can open the any files, right? The number of examples will also be see, right? So you can clear your doubts, right? Similar way, once you complete your task, whether it is reading or writing, right, you need to close the files compulsory, right? જ્યારે પણ આપણે word excel files ઉપયોગ કરીને operation perform કરે છે compulsory we need to close it, right? Or operating system will automatically close it, right? So in a turbo we need to close the file in a compulsory basis. For that we are using the fclose functions, right? And in a fclose functions we need to pass the file pointer which is storing the address of the existing file. The file pointer address store કરીને રાખશે એ particular address ની file તમે close કરી શકો. That means you have to pass the file pointer, right, which pointing to the particular file. You have to pass the file pointer in a fclose function. So fclose function a particular file pointer ની file ને close કરશે successfully. Right? So this is our two basic function, fopen and fclose functions we have seen with the syntax. Right? So this can be used in our program. Okay? Now we are directly going to the programs. Right? The first programs we are going to handle is to read the characters from the files. Right? How these two functions can be used, right? And other functions, right, for reading the number of characters, how we can use it. Right? We look into the consecutive examples. Right? Now we are directly move ahead with this program. The program says to open the files, right? Write something or read something or write something and close the file. Right? So we need to perform some basic operations, right, to understand the fopen, fclose. Right? Now look at the programs. We are including the two header files, studio, right, string.h. Right? Now look at the void main. In a void main, any file handling operation can be performed via the file pointer. So very first option or statement we need to write down is to create the file pointer. Right? File pointer name may be anything, FP, F, anything, right? But the type must be the capital F, right? F file pointer FP. Then we are declaring the data array of type character with size 50. Right now we are opening the existing files. Right? So consider that we have a test.c files, right, located in the bin folder of PC. Right? PC na bin folder in the test.c namni file already you have created, right? And that particular file we are going to open it with the write operation. The mode we have mentioned here is the W. Here we have not mentioned the full path of the particular files because the default location of this file is bin folder. So we have put this test.c in a bin folder. So there is no need to give the full path. You can also assign the full path, right? But whenever we are putting in a bin folder, you can only mention the name of the files. Other than the bin folder, we have to mention the full path of the files which are we are going to open. Now using fopen function. So look at the syntax of fopen test.c and second parameter is the mode. So both the parameter must be comes under the double quotation marks, right? As soon as the fopen function will return this test.c file using the write mode, that means we want to write something into the it, right? And it will return the fp file pointer fp in a particular address successfully returned searches, right? Now it will return, but we need to check whether the successfully open or not. So that's why we have to check using the if condition whether the value in fp equal to null or something else other than the null. Right? So whenever the value is equal to null, we can directly say that the file is not open or should not be opened by the operating system due to some reason. So we are close the particular files or giving the appropriate message to the users. Right? If it is successful, right, then we are directly go ahead to write something into the it. Right? So we are giving the message to the users, enter some text on the keyboard. So as soon as the user gets this message, it tries to add something from the keyboard. Right? So at that time, we need to handle the input from the keyboard. Right? ક્યાં સુધી handle કરીશું? Right? જ્યાં સુધી while loops are going. Right? જ્યાં સુધી while loops આપતા જશો ત્યાં સુધી શું થશે? This function or this file loop ની અંદર જે condition છે string length, right? So string length function we know that string length is basically used to find out the total length of the given string, right? Now this getAs function. Now getAs function is something which get the strings, right, into the data array from the keyboard. Right? જ્યાં સુધી તમે getAs function આપશો get string function ત્યાં સુધી એ શું કરશે? વેલ્યુ ગેટ કરશે અને સ્ટોર ક્યાં કરશે? તમારા ડેટા એરેની અંદર સ્ટોર કરશે, રાઈટ? અને જ્યારે પણ ડેટા એરેની અંદર કોઈ વેલ્યુ આવશે, રાઈટ, right, that will be counted total number of string values, and if this string value is greater than 0, right, જ્યાં સુધી value 0 નહીં થાય, જ્યારે ઇનપુટમાં 0 આવશે ત્યારે જે શું થશે? while loop થી એક્ઝિટ થશે, અધરવાઇઝ શું થશે? while loop ની વેલ્યુ ટ્રુ થશે, right? So getAs is a operation function which is getting the input from the user or from the keyboard and store the value of type character into the data array, right? And our data array ની total value count as a string length function too. If this greater than 0, then condition becomes true. Right? Now this is the two functions additionally used to perform the write operation. Right? Now we hold this program here and we first look the fput functions, right? Now we directly move ahead with this function, right? Fput functions, right? So what fput functions are doing? So look at this function fput function. So fput function writes string to a file. So this function is basically used to write string into the files. So this is a function which is directly related to the file. So put as function we know, right? Put as function is normally put the string on your screen. Put as function. As we put f ahead of the put as function, this function becomes related to the files. That means that the outputs are directly stored in a given file. Put as function and f put as function both are same kind of function. One function, put as function, display the string on your screen, whereas the f put as function write output into the files. Right? So we are using these functions right in our program. So look at the program, right? So f put as function having two parameters. Number one is a source and the number two is a destination where you want to write the file. So we have stored the whatever the inputted data from the keyboard into the data array. So this is become the source. Array માંથી તમે data લેશો અને ક્યાં write કરશો into the file fp. So fp is basically pointing to which file? It is pointing to the test.c file which is already opened by the fp. So whatever the data are there in a array or data will be copied or write into the fp using the f put as function. So remember the syntax of f put as having two parameters. Number one is the source, number two is the destination where you want to write it. So f put as function is related to file. That's why the destination is always the file pointer. Always the files are identified by the file pointers, right? So whatever the data we are inputting, it will be first buffer into the array data and then it will be right into the fp, right? And second difference of f put as is that right we have to display in a new file. That's why we are putting again the f put as function slash and that is a new line, right? And again into the fp means the write surface. That means the new line in the number of data are stored. As soon as we inputted the number of string into the data array, ત્યાં સુધી number of files are right into the files. And as soon as we complete the input or we are not inputting anything, right? So it will closing the files, right? So to close the files, right? We have to display the appropriate message and then we have to use the fclose function of fp. That means which file we want to close, the file which are opened by the f open must be closed right before the void main are return something or ending the functions, right? So we are closing the fp file pointed by the or test.c file pointed by the fp. So as soon as you open, the number of contents are stored in a fp. So this way we can write the number of things, right? Whatever we have included using the keyboard are directly right into the file. Which file? The file is test.c. So we can manually go to the folders and then we open the test.c file and we can identify or we can taste whether the included elements are there or not. So this is the example, right, which is using fopen function, fclose function, fput as functions, right? Now and simple getAs function is also we are getting. So getAs functions are getting this string into the array. Now we are moving ahead with the second program which is read the content from the file. So in our first program we have seen what? We have seen the writing operations into the file. Now we are reading from the particular file. So similarly in a programs we are first declaring the file pointer fp, then we have an array with size 50 of character type, Then we are opening the files, right? The file which is existing or available, right? We have to open it using the fopen function. So what we have to do, the fopen function is the full path or the name of the file using the R mode. R mode, that is the read mode. In the read mode, we have to only can read the character from the files, right? So as soon as the file are successfully opened, it will have some memory location. If it is null, then there is some reading or file opening errors are there. So we have to close the particular program, right? Using the, or we have to check using the if conditions, right? If it is not null, then we are going to read it from the files, right? So we are reading the files, that's why we are putting the messages to the users. Now, this is the code for reading and display on your screen. So we need to read the number of characters from the file and display on your screen, right? So क्या સુધી read કરશું whenever there is a null values are not there into the files, right? So again there is another function, right? As we see in the first program, fPutAs function. Similar way there is a fGetAs function, right? Opposite to the fPutAs function. There is a fGetAs function. It will read the content from the file. The file માંથી શું કરશે? Content ને read કરશે, right? Now what is the syntax? Right? Syntax are the similar. This is the source. First parameter is the source. Second parameter is the buffer size, and the third parameter is the this is the destinations, this is the size, and the first one is the source where you want to read the content. So the syntax are the same. fPutAs function, fGetAs function. The only thing is that destination and the source are changed here, right? Syntax are same, right? But the destinations and the source are changed in a fGetAs function. So fGetAs function will read the content from fp file and the block of 50 bytes and copy into the array, right? So file માંથી read કરશે અને array ની અંદર store કરશે. જ્યાં સુધી there is no null are found in a file, correct? So we are putting this condition in a while loop. So જ્યાં સુધી null નહીં આવશે ત્યાં સુધી શું કરશે? The number of string value are copied into the data, and ત્યાર પછી we are display this data with the printf function on your screen. So આ file loop જ્યાં સુધી ચાલતું રહેશે, right? ત્યાં સુધી printf function will print the value of the data from the data array and display on your screen, right? So case.c માંથી character by character, right? Of or string by string of size 50 will be read stored in an array, right? Data is an array, right? ત્યાં સુધી whenever the null value not found in the fp file, case.c file, and we will close the file using the fclose function, right? So this way we can close the program. So we need to display it, right? So we have looked at the write program, read program. Now this is the number of functions, basic functions, right, related with the files, right? So we have already seen the fopen functions to open the files using the appropriate name. fclose are also we have seen, right? So it will close the appropriate open file, right? We have seen the fGetAs function and fPutAs function. So fGetAs function and fPutAs functions are basically, right, used to write into the file pointed by file pointer or read the content from the pointed by the file pointers, right? So this is two functions are related with the string, right? And write and read from the files. Similarly, we have a general functions, right, which is getW function. So it is get, that means we're getting the integer from the files, or we are putting the integer value into the files. Similarly, simple getAs functions are there. We already seen in the first program getAs function and putAs function. So these functions get the string value from the keyboard. We are display the string into the screen, in your output screen. Right? So this is the functions. Character wise, there is another functions, right? F get C function and F put C function. So whenever we want to get the character, or we want to write the character into the file, we have to use F get C function and F put C function. This is identical with the F put S function and F get S function. String માટે F get S function, character get કરવા માટે F get C function નો ઉપયોગ કરશે. અને put કરવા માટે, write કરવા માટે F put C function for character and F put S function for the string value. Right, so this is the basic functions for inputting and outputting, right, from the files. Now look at the another function which is very important, which is FUF functions. Right? So FUF functions finds the end of the file. So this function is basically used, right, whenever you need to read from the files. So whenever you require to read the multiple characters, right, from the files, right, at a time we need to have some function which tell us the end happened with the files. So there is no character in the files remaining, right? That point is called the end of the files, correct? So that can be checked using the FUF functions. EUF, that means the end of the file, and this end of the file is related to the file. So this function tell us, right, whenever the end of the file happens, and as soon as this will happen, we stop reading from the file and display or write into the another file. Correct? So this is function normally used with the reading of the files. So we look at the examples of this EUF, right, in one of the programs. So look at the functions. Now we are going with the FUF function. So look at the FUF function. So look at the description of this function. FUF function is a file handling function in C programming language which is used to find the end of the file. Right? A syntax is something like a fclose function. Right? So the FUF in a parameter the file handling pointer. So we are putting file pointer as a parameter. From which file we need to find out the end of the file, right? A particular file pointer we are putting it as an argument, right? Now look at the description of this function. This handling function illustrate how to read the content of the files, right? This is basically used, as we already see, whenever we need to read the content. At the time we are using it, it will help to identify the number of content into the files, right? So this will validate the file end of the file is reached or not, right? So look at the programs. Now we want to read, right, character by character from the files, right? જ્યાં સુધી આપણે read કરતા રહેશું character, જ્યાં સુધી તમારે end of the file નહીં થશે ત્યાં સુધી. Now look at the program directly. Now we are using the file pointer fp. We want to read the content from the file character by character. That's why we are declaring one buffer character C. Now we are opening the paste.c file again using the R mode, right? And we are handling this yfp file pointer, right? We are checking with the null character whether it is open or not. If the condition is false, that means that the file is successfully opened. Now we are using the while loop here, right? Directly we need to true with the while loop, right? So while with the parameter 1, that means that is true. So always it will be in a body part. So look at the f get c function. So f get c functions we already seen. Get c, that means get character, right, from the file pointed by the fp. fp માં file pointer જે ફાઇલને પોઈન્ટ કરે છે એના કર્સરની પોઝિશન ઉપરથી જ્યાં પણ કર્સર હશે એના કર્સરની પોઝિશન પરથી કેરેક્ટર રીડ કરશે this function અને અસાઇન કોને કરશે એક બફર કેરેક્ટર c ને અસાઇન કરશે. Now we check whether the end of the file reach or not. So that's why we are using FUF function of FP. So FUF function will check whether the end of file reach or not. So whenever FUF will return, look at the functions, this will return the one. That means what? This is this program, it is look like this, right? There is a curly brackets are also there. Right? So this condition is true. So whenever the FP will return 1, that means the end of the files are reached. Right? End of the files are reached. If end of the files are not reached, right, we need to read number of characters from the file again. Right? So consider there is only one characters are there into the file. Then what happens? The first characters are read, it will be stored in a C, right? And then the second and FUF will be check the current condition of the FP, right? If there is a null into the C, right? If first character are null, suppose there is no character in the file, then what happens? The null value comes into the C. Now look at the conditions, right? FUF function will return, right? To return કરશે જો null value આવશે, right? End of the file reach થઈ ગયો હશે, so it will return the 1 and the program will already close because there is no characters are there. Right? If it is return 0, that means the condition becomes false. And false also, that means that the character will be displayed. Right? So this function will return 1, right? As soon as the end of the file will reach. 1 return કરશે, that means the end of the file આવી ગયું છે, right? End of the file આવી ગયો છે, that means there is no need to read further. જો end of the file નહીં આવ્યો છે તો શું થશે? તો C character માંથી જે character is going to be display. ફરીથી while loop ની અંદર જશે, so number of character વધારે હશે તો ફરીથી while loop માં જશે, condition is already true, ફરીથી આવશે second character. So what is the characteristics of this function? This function will always move ahead with the one position, right? એક વેલ્યુ એક વખત ગેટ કરશે પછી કર્સર ને શું કરશે? one position move કરશે. That means હવે second position ઉપર કર્સર હશે, કર્સરની second position પરથી f get c function value get કરશે, c માં મૂકશે, ફરીથી end of the file check થશે. If the second character is null or end of the file, that means અહીંયા check થશે end of the file. Now end of the files third position પર પહોંચી જશે due to this f get c function, right? Cursor હવે third position વાળું cursor જે end of the file હશે, that means what happens? The FUF will return 1. That means the FUF having the condition of reach to the end of the file. So at the time the function will exit or the program will exit. Otherwise the new character is going to be displayed. Right? Similar way, this will be continue until this function will return 1. જ્યાં સુધી character હશે ત્યાં સુધી function 0 return કરશે, that means કે display કરશે, અને જેવું તમારું this function return 1, that means the end of the file આવશે એવું return 1 કરશે and એ break થશે. right? Program name, right? So this way, the whole things will be circulated, right, in a loop. So this is very important functions that which is need to use in a file handling. Now we look at the another program, right, which is used to read the content from the file using the AFWA function. And we are reading the file, we need to check for the end of the file, right? So we are using the another method to check whether the file is end or not, right? So here we are using the capital EOF. This is the macro, right, which will return the -1 value whenever the end of the file is reached, right? So we can also use the EOF using the fgetc functions, right? So we look into the program how we can use the EOF, right, to check whether the end of the file reach or not. Okay? So similar way we are declaring the file pointer, we are opening test.c using the read mode, right? And handling using the FP as we see in earlier programs, right? We check for the null value, whether it is open or not. If it is not open, it will be closed, right? By giving the appropriate error message to the user. Once you successfully open, we can reading the content one by one, right? So for reading the content, we are using the while loop, right? So by default, we are entering into the body of the while loop, and we are using the fgetc function. So character by character, this function will get the character from the open file pointed by the fp. Okay? So first character will be copied from the cursor of the opening file. Cursor જે પણ હશે ત્યાંથી first character will be copied from fgetc function and stored in a buffer character C. Right? Now we are directly checking the first character, whatever we read, whether it is EOF or not. So by default value of EOF is -1. Right? So C is equal to EOF. That means the end of the file is reached. And this happens when we are directly break the while loop, right? And we remove exit from the while loop, or otherwise and the file is not read, condition is false, then we are directly going to print the character on your screen. Similar way, again we are going into the while loop, we are getting the second character from the cursor, right? As soon as we know that whenever the fgetc functions are executed, it will be increment the file pointer by 1. Right? So it will be next position. So from the next position, fgetc function will get the character in the buffer. We are again checking for the UIF end of the file reach or not. So whatever the files are there, how big files are there, right? It comes to an end, right? Whenever it will become, right? Whether it is small or big files, right? But every time, whenever the characters are comes, right? Using the fgetc function, we have to check it using the if condition. If it is end of the file or it will be -1 value in a year is basically the macro, right? So by default value is -1, right? So we are checking it if it is there end of the file, we are exit from the file because already the remaining content ahead of the this UF already written on your screen. And we are exit from the while loop, right? Otherwise we are go with the next characters, right? As soon as we read the character using while loop, we are after reading the content we have to close it using the close of function, right? And we are using or we are displaying the content on the screen. So this way you can uh, output in the output on your screen, right? So this is the content, right, available in your test.c file. So you can put the number of paragraphs in a test.c manually, save it, and then you run the program, right? So you can get this output on your screen. So this is the basic fundamental operations performed in a file handling chapter, right? So we have seen the number of functions are there, right, which is used, right, in a file operations, right? So look at the summary of this number of functions, right? We have seen get function, we have already seen, right? We have seen the FUA function, we have seen the FGETS function, we have seen the FTEST function, right? FClose function, FOpen function, GetW function, PutW function, right? And many more. Yeah, so remaining functions are similar kind of functions, right? You may use, right? But this is the basic function. You can perform the read and write operations, right? Using this, we have discussed functions, right? So this is the number of things from my side, right? And the remaining topic of this lecture will be covered in a next lecture. So thank you very much for your patience, right, and listening to this. Thank you very much.